Hey patrons, how you doing? So I'm here to just do a quick talk for public. Obviously, my patrons can watch it as well. But we did our first Benefactor level, the $10 level, adventure a couple Saturdays ago. It was a blast. Two of my good friends from high school that I have not talked to in ages, backed at the Benefactor level, and they asked if I wanted to run a game for them. We haven't played since high school. God, that would have been Jesus, I'm old. 97 through like 2000 roughly. I haven't talked to them since, and it was a great way to retouch. Two of my other really good friends, one that runs Detroit Living City, which is a Shadowrun inspired, Shadowrun 5th edition living community. So think organized play, but story takes precedent over rules. We've been running that. We hit our 1 year mark as of October, which is crazy. And we're doing our season 2 starting in November. So if you're interested in doing Shadowrun to either my patrons or to whoever else sees this, check out Detroit Living City, livingcity.com, and then go read about, and then go to recruitment section, and they'll have a place to fill out for tryouts. We're going to be starting doing those again in November for season 2. But I want to talk about the Benefactor and the game. We have 3 slots left. The two right now that are friends that are playing, and I'm having rotating cast members coming in and out. My favorite role players, my favorite GMs, people from the RPG community coming in and playing games. And we are playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition. First time I've ran Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I've played in a couple games. I'm really enjoying it. I love the action economy. It will probably get added to my list of things that I designed for, because even though I'm wearing a D&D hat, I love 5e, but Pathfinder ended up being my baby after a while. And PF2 feels like Paizo finally made what they wanted to do, their own system. And it's outstanding. The 3 action economy is easy to teach. The level of complexity is there, but it doesn't bog down gameplay and doesn't bog down character creation. Character creation is the ABCs, which is ancestry, background, and class in that order. Your stats now start at a base of 10 with a bunch of +2s that you get to put all over the place to build what you want. So no longer do you have to worry about being a dwarven bard and getting screwed over because your charisma is too low. That's a thing of the past. You can kind of make what you want. If you played Starfinder, you'll be familiar with the idea of how characters are built, but they really polished it for PF2. So we played our first adventure. We are playing in Galarian. We're not doing my micro setting. That was the choice from the patrons, but I am developing my next series of plotted adventures, and those will start after everyone's used to playing again. These two guys have not played in ages. And then I'll do the next series of plotted adventures, and they're going to be involved in the very beginning of the process. So I will make the map, I will run the adventure, and then I will reverse engineer and make the plot web, and then that'll get put out to my patrons. So if you're not familiar with the plotted adventures, in short, think of all the times you had to run an adventure and you had to read 20 to 60 pages. Sometimes that's fun, other times you don't have time for it. And I decided to make something where you don't have to do that. So we all listen to podcasts. I make a podcast. We all listen to podcasts. We all watch YouTube. And what I decided to do was make a map with a plot web that goes with it. And then there's a plot web that goes over top, which is a little smaller, just kind of like highlighted points on the map. And then I record audio and voices, and you listen to this, 20 to 35-minute podcast, and you take your own notes on the plot web, and it's systemless. You can use any system you want. There's just a DC chart that you add, or a difficulty chart that you add for the system that you are playing. And you make this your own thing for your own setting. So I have 3 of them out right now. The third one came out last year. I took a break and started doing the micro settings, and I'm going to get back into the swing of doing those plotted adventures. I've also done one for Rob Schwab called Fire's Hunger, and that is specifically for Shadows of the Demon Lord. That is not systemless, but you could convert it. It's fantastic, dark, and grim. But the other one, Crimson Chain, is dark, and it follows the party chasing after a teenager who has murdered his own family. Very dark. And that darkness comes out in the game, and it's a lot of fun. You can find the first one will be out free here coming up either this Friday or Sunday. I have to redo some things on it. I had audio included. The second one is already on there, and then the third one will come out here at the end of October. And I don't know if I'll do them as a collection, but they'll be under $2 for them, and they're about 3 to 4 hours of play per, so pretty cost effective. So let's talk the game, Benefactors. We played this game. It was a 4-hour session. Everyone had their characters made. We have one gentleman playing a monk. I think he is human. We have a dwarven polearm fighter. We have a human Thessalonian wizard who is one of my good friends. And then the other gentleman is playing a goblin rogue, which has been really interesting. But if you're interested in playing games with me at a Benefactor level, remember after 3 months of the $10 patronage, you also get to get a black and white map made for you. So for you and your home group, maybe it's for your HQ if you've been using strongholds and followers for Matt Colville. If you're a GM, maybe you want it for your home game. Whatever it may be, 3 months of backing, I'll get a map out to you in black and white. And you also get the chance, I'll do a cycling cast if people can come play in these games. So I just wanted to do a quick call out for it. It was a lot of fun. It was the first one we did, and then we play again tomorrow. And I have my friend coming in to play a character, which should be a lot of fun. What else can I tell you about the party? So we have those cast members. There's a ranger in the party, which we'll be playing tomorrow, and they have the last war mammoth, because we're playing out in this frozen tundra area, and they're making a Pathfinder's lodge out of an observatory. And they found the observatory in the first adventure. So they have that. So we have that half-elven ranger as well, who's joining us tomorrow. And yeah, man, combat was a lot of fun. They dealt with yetis. An undead army sprung up as they were climbing up the mountainside. And the wizards stopped this undead army from getting to them. And their ex-Grey Maiden, if you know what they are, they're now mercenaries in the Galarian world because their queen's dead. And she is a venture captain leading them to find this. And as this avalanche started coming down, because why? The mage used a 0-level spell to set off an avalanche and bury this army that's following them. They found 2 yetis getting attacked by zombies as well from this undead army further up in the mountains. Yetis can talk, but they didn't have a conversation, so they were drawing on the snow to communicate with them. They actually saved one of the 2 that were wounded, so they didn't get attacked by the yetis, which would have been ugly. There's a howl that has been traveling through the mountains and the valleys while they're there. They thought it was the yetis, but it's something worse. They figured out it's a wendigo. They're not facing that yet, but it is in the valley. It's also what the yetis are afraid of. Upon finding the observatory, they had a bunch of downtime. Each one of them is kind of doing their own thing. The goblin rogue has set up trade routes between himself and other communities around him with the downtime rules from Xanathar's guide that we are converting some of that over, and then pathfinding using their downtime system to earn money. So we kind of merge those things together just because I like some of the Xanathar's thing from downtime. And then, let's see, what was the monk doing? I think he went into training with the observatory and training some of the new recruits that are coming in for Pathfinders. The wizard went and left and had the ranger take him back down to the yetis that are, I think they are half a day travel on the mountains, and he's learning their language through them. And then in turn, he is training them in a language as well, which is pretty cool. And the fighter is getting, I think he's getting things crafted by the dwarf that's there. And I have a Discord set up for us that is in our patrons Discord server, and that area has a Pathfinder area where playtesters are involved, and I think all of the patrons that are subscribed can see it as well, and you can see the episode stuff that I'm posting. I'll post our level 0 up here, so below this actually, so you guys can read what that first session was about, and then what was going on at the downtime, and all the new Pathfinders and people that are showing up for this lodge. But we ended the session, and then I put up the start for the next session in text, and there is an elevator shaft that goes down out of this observatory to get to the base of the mountain faster. They found it. And there's a loud knocking going on, and the dwarven craftsman they have there, Granger, I believe is his name, said it sounds like a giant smashing his way through a forest, but it's under the observatory in the mountain. I don't know what it is. I pickaxed the wall that I was hearing the sound from, and the wall crumpled. I believe somebody used magic to form the stone over top of this old door. I warn, it looks grim. The outside of it is covered in skulls, framing it like some form of archaic Gothic tradition. The door is locked. I'm not going to open it, I fear for the worst, but if you and your Pathfinders want to look into it, I'll take you down. But that knocking, it can't be a good sign. And we left with that. And that is where we're going to pick up tomorrow. So to all the people who see this and those that are supporting the Patreon, thank you again. I'm going to be updating and doing a lot more. I'm really doubling down and focusing on the Patreon along with the podcast I have coming up. I have a very busy month right now, but I'm still going to get out at least a micro setting or one of these adventures for you all. I'm also working on that monster anthology, which if you read the post back, if you are currently pledging, you can see what that is. But in short, I'm doing a monster anthology, like the old second edition 3-ring binder ones, but I'm doing something a little different. And I have a lot of projects in the works, but some I can't talk about yet. They're not quite into a fruition that I'm comfortable talking about them. But that's it for me. I just wanted to give a quick update, even though this is like 11 minutes. It's not quick. But here's what's going on with the Patreon and where we're at right now. I will keep doing these and it'll get a little more formal. But this was just a real quick one I wanted to do before I run tomorrow's game. Hope you guys enjoy. Have a good one. And like always, like, subscribe, and if you really enjoy what I'm doing, share it with your friends. Bring more in so I know what to make for people. That's it for me. Watch, listen, learn, be a better kid.